Hey guys, here in a nutshell with me, Ina. Nako, medyo mainit-init na topic ang pag-uusapan natin in this episode. I'm sure many of you have seen reports about some Filipino protesters in Vancouver nung nandito po sa isang state visit si President Bongbong Marcos. Okay, meron pong encounter ang ilang mga nagprotesta with Malacanang Press Officer Miss Claire Castro. Wherein, no, parang hinaharas daw si Miss Claire Castro, sinisigawan at kung ano-ano ngang sinasabi. And of course, that encounter went viral on social media. And now, there are some people saying na, oy, nako, baka ano na yan, ipapadeport na raw yung mga Pilipino na yon dahil hinaharas daw si Palace Press Officer, si Ms. Claire Castro, who as we all know was here as part of the delegation of President Marcos. Yan. Okay, welcome. Ang pag-uusapan natin, ano ba? Totoo ba? Pwede bang ipa-deport yung mga Pilipino na yun? Okay.
Siguro balikan natin yung Immigration 101 on this ano. And sidebar lang, natatawa ako kasi dati kasi nung na-interview ako ng DZMM, si Ante Claire dun sa kanyang show, nagko-comment siya dun sa commentary ko. So ngayon ngayon magko-comment tayo on Ante Claire. So medyo nakakatuwa lang yung role reversal. So again, balikan natin yung basics ng immigration in Canada. So una sa lahat, mga foreign nationals, even permanent residents, can be deemed inadmissible to Canada. Yung may absolute rights lang to remain in Canada basically are citizens of Canada and those who are covered by the Indian Act, right? Permanent residents have the permanent right to stay in Canada so long as they respect their obligations. And kasama dun sa obligation na yun, hindi kailangan hindi kayo inadmissible. For foreign nationals who are in Canada temporarily, such as visitors, students, or workers, they are also possibly inadmissible if they fall in the requisite categories of Canadian law. So ano ba sinasabi natin? Ilang beses na natin pinag-usapan dito sa channel natin ni Ina na yung inadmissibility nga. So foreign nationals can be deemed inadmissible for certain things such as misrepresentation, yung pagsisinungaling, di ba? So hindi na rin tayo magugulat na ang criminality and serious criminality, in other words, ordinary criminality and then serious criminality, magiging grounds din for permanent, for essentially for inadmissibility to Canada. And depende kung ano yung status ninyo at depende kung saan nangyari yung alleged crime, magkakaroon ng mga nuances yung story. So, let's apply it in this situation. Mabilis lang. So, madami tayong hindi alam. Let's just clarify that ahead of time. Hindi natin alam kung anong estado nung dalawang individual na kine-question nga yung allegedly yung pagbabastos nga kay Ante Claire sa pagbisita nila sa Vancouver. So, ang tanong dito, sila ba ay temporary residents, meaning workers or students or visitors, or sila ba ay permanent resident, or sila ba ay citizen? Pangalawa, nasa Canada sila. So in order for inadmissibility to be triggered for this kind of harassment, yun daw yung sinasabi, diba? So criminal harassment, that is covered by Section 264 of the Canadian Criminal Code. Okay. And basically, ang sinasabi dito ay isang hybrid offense ito, meaning pwede kang husgahan ng harap ng jury of your peers, di ba, in Canada kasi may jury system tayo. So i-indict kayo, guilty, not guilty, or summary conviction. But under immigration law, on the other hand, any hybrid offense is considered yung maximum, yung indictable. Yun nga yung nakikita natin
automatic doon ka sa may trial.
Yung mabigat. From an immigration perspective, is just going to make that legal presumption. So in other words, indictable offense. So even on an ordinary criminality charge, yung foreign national pwedeng consider as inadmissible. Now, for permanent residents, kung serious criminality, both permanent residents and foreign nationals could be considered inadmissible. But here's the very big but, na kaya medyo nagpapadahan-dahan lang ako kasi nga una sa lahat, hindi natin alam kung ano yung estado nila in Canada. Pangalawa, regardless of status in Canada, kung sila may foreign national, meaning temporary resident, or even permanent resident, kailangan nyo ng conviction under Canadian prosecutorial law. under the justice system. So kailangan ihabla sila ng prosecution, crown prosecution, dalhin sila sa korte, at they should be found guilty first in order for the inadmissibility finding to be completed. In other words, kung kinasuhan ka pa lang or commission pa lang, hindi pa pwede to as ground as inadmissibility. Ito yung naiiba in contrast for those na nag-commit ng crime outside Canada. Sometimes even the commission of that act alone, kahit di ka hinablahan at hindi ka kinasuhan sa Pilipinas, pwedeng grounds yun for inadmissibility in Canada. Kahit di ka dumaan sa system sa Philippines, for example.
Right,
Pero
right.
because it's in Canada, you need a conviction.
Correct. Parang ano, no? Wait, I can't help but recall, di ba may recent reports din sa Philippines in Siargao, I think, of some foreign nationals there. Ano ba, hindi ako sure, basta kumbaga nirereklamo sila ng locals. I'm not sure if they even went to court. Pero parang ano na sila ngayon, mukhang papaalisin sila ng Pilipinas because of their actions. Right?
Yeah,
so
I mean,
the difference you are seeing. In Canada,
it's a very different legal system in the Philippines. You have the immigration system in the Philippines na talagang una sa lahat, itong mga foreign nationals na ito, you are here in the Philippines, for example, at the pleasure of the government. Kung hindi ko na gusto yung pagmumukha mo, pwede kitang itegi. Pwede kitang paalisin, kumbaga. Persona non grata nga yung tawag natin, 'di ba? So may discretion yung mga otoridad sa Pilipinas na gawin yun. In Canada, hindi basta-basta yan eh. Very, very limited yung situations na pwedeng i-declare ng minister na talagang hindi pwede. And one example na pwede ko ibigay sa iyo is under public policy, the members of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard are basically, for all intents and purposes, persona non grata in Canada, diba? So, iba yung sistema sa Pilipinas. But I appreciate the analogy. Actually, ang ganda nga nung analogy. Kasi,
parang doon, ang bilis ng mga pangyayari. Basta ang daming reklamo and bling. Ito na, inaresto na sila and I think they are facing deportation right away, no?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Anyway, guys, ito po yung latest report na nakita ko tungkol dito sa kaso ni Miss Claire, ano? So, yung DFA daw sa Pilipinas, inutusan. Yan, yung embassy natin dito sa Canada as well as the consulate in Vancouver to look into the circumstances, okay, of what happened. Now, Attorney Lou, you mentioned isang mahalagang kailangan na mangyari sakaling mapapadeport, no? Itong mga umano'y nang haras kay Miss Claire Castro is there needs to be a conviction of a serious crime. I'm sure you've seen the videos. Okay.
Depende sa status eh. Unahin natin yun. Kung sila
let's assume first na temporary. Kung temporary.
Sige.
Nakita mo yung video. Do you think, sa basa mo lang, would it constitute a serious crime? Ito, binasa ko yung mga reports. Let's just use the words na sinabi mismo ni Ms. Castro. No? Sinabihan daw siya ng mga shame on you. Pangit.
Yun nga. Very personal. Very personal daw, diba?
Sinungaling. Meron din daw mga nagsabi na nag-enable siya ng massive corruption in the Philippines. Parte daw siya ng, nung Maleta Gang. And she said this, in her words, she in a way felt threatened. Kasi dalawa lang sila nung kasama niya. And then that is also the reason why sumakto, may nakita daw silang security officers in the area. That's why they sort of sought help. Yun nga lang, I think there's also another video na showing na yung mga police officers, sinabihan niya nagpo-protesta na it's okay, you can continue to do what you're doing, but do not, ano ba yung ginamit na term? Basta huwag nyo sigurong ihaharas talaga or huwag nyo sasaktan, but you can freely say whatever you want. Something to that effect. What do you think of that?
Well, una sa lahat, assuming na i-take up ng prosecution ito in Canada, ng Crown prosecutors as a worthwhile case to pursue. And I have very sincere doubts kung hahabulin ba ito ng Crown prosecutors considering how busy they are. Madaming elemento itong krimen na to na kailangan patunayan ng Crown prosecution. The first one I could think of is yung prohibited conduct. Kailangan i-establish. And usually yung mga tinahanap dito for criminal harassment is yung repeatedly following someone. In other words, stalking. Yung repeatedly communicating with them, yung talagang paulit-ulit, tinitext, mini-message sa social media, paulit-ulit na tinatawagan, sinusulatan, gano'n, di ba? Ang pagkakaintindi ko dito ay unang pagkakataon lang ito na ginawa nila ito, di ba?
Alright.
Pangatlo, parang, yun nga, parte rin ng pagsustalk. Binabantayan bawat galaw. So, halimbawa, nandun si Auntie Claire, di ba? Tas
Sinundan daw
nandito ka.
siya. Yan, sinundan
Ayun.
daw
So,
siya.
meron, di ba? So, ganun nga. So, may isang elemento doon, di ba? Tapos, threatening conduct directed at complainant or their family, di ba? Tapos, may mga iba pang elements yan. Kailangan, from a subjective perspective, itong si Auntie Claire, alam naman natin to, si Auntie Claire, balls of steel to, di ba? Kailangan she must have felt threatened as well. Parang nung nakita ko yung clips of the video, parang nakangiti lang si Auntie Claire, di ba? Huminto siya, pero ngumiti lang siya. So, parang, may doubts ako kung merong subjective element of the feeling of being threatened by these individuals, itong si Auntie Claire. So, from that perspective pa lang, parang basag yung teorya na merong subjective feeling of harassment, diba? At
Okay.
tapos merong reasonable fear for their safety. And as you mentioned earlier, may mga kapulisan nga dun sa scenario na talagang nag-provide ng distance na kahit na very very intense yung vitriol, 'di ba, nung dalawa against Auntie Claire, patuloy pa rin yung kanilang pag-express ng kanilang sinaloloob, whether we like it or not. Ayun nga, so parang duda ako na papasok tayo sa level of criminal harassment. Pangalawang punto, siguro sub-point na lang siguro is yun nga, busy parate ang Crown prosecution and they really, how shall I put it, are very selective when it comes to prosecuting criminal harassment. Usually, yung mga hinahabol nilang criminal harassment is yung talagang may history ng stalking, ng cyberbullying, talagang binabantayan na talagang alam mong minamatsa ka. Anong term in Tagalog na talagang sinastalk, binabantayan ka talaga ng
Okay.
potential harasser. Parang medyo duda ako kung yung elements of the crime are there.
All right. And also, I think is it a big deal rather or big factor na mismong si Miss Claire is saying na wala siyang balak mag-file ng kahit
Yes.
anong complaint.
Absolutely.
So, pwede ba yun sabihin? Hindi, baka pwedeng umaksyon yung consulate on her behalf. Pwede ba yun?
Isa sa elements ng crime na ito, as we said, kasi yung criminal harassment nga is she must subjectively feel that she was under threat. Diba? I understand
Tapos
she
mag-file
stopped.
siya ng kaso, ng complaint to be
Ideally, she would file information. Diba?
Okay.
At the very least, information. Tapos it's up for the prosecution to take up the case if they think that it meets the threshold of anong sinasabi nila yung ngayon sa Pilipinas, sa ombudsman ngayon, yung sinasabi
probable
nila.
cause. Yan ba?
Hindi lang probable cause. Yung sinasabi nila yung reasonable chance of conviction. Sinasabi nila na kapag nag-file ka, hindi lang dahil na-meet mo yung threshold ng probable cause, but rather because meron kang reasonable grounds na na mako-convict itong tao na to. Para hindi nasasayang yung administrative resources nga ng judicial system din, di ba? So parang from that perspective, knowing Crown prosecutors having worked with ones before, having chatted with them before, and criminal defense lawyers, parang ito yung mga type ng kaso na hindi umaabot sa hablahan.
I see. How about the fact that she is here as part of a delegation of a visiting state leader? Yan ang nakikita kong isang argument nung social media.
I saw that too.
Hindi. Baka daw mas mabigat. Kasi
mas mabigat.
bisita sila ng gobyerno ng Canada. Tapos ginanan ninyo. Ganun.
I mean, it sort of like presses like the urgency on the part of the Canadian government na parang, oo nga, baka nga naman talagang kailangan tignan ng prosecution to. Pero kung ako kasi yung Crown prosecutor, babalikan ko yung supervisor ko na nagli-liaise with Global Affairs Canada. Sasabihin ko na, teka wala yung elements of the crime.
Right.
Parang mahina yung chances for conviction here. And then on top of it, you hear Auntie Claire saying mismo na parang wala naman siyang interest na habulin ito. Diba?
I see. Yeah. Iyon na nga.
Alam mo, sabi nga ng mama ko, parang yung paghuhusga sa kanila ng social media, parang sapat na.
Oo. Tsaka let's not forget, very protected ang freedom of speech dito, which I'm sure sakali mang dumating sa kasuhan, yun ang isa-cite, syempre, na depensa,
Oh,
no, kung
yes.
naman yung kakasuhan. Can you
Correct.
explain to us, no, Attorney Lou, yung protection of freedom of speech here? Ano ba limits niyan? At least in this situation, what do you think?
Right.
Sumobra ba yung mga nagprotesta doon sa paninigaw, gumamit ng megaphone kahit nandito lang yung babae? Alam mo, yung ganun ba?
Same principles as in the Philippines, maximum tolerance when it comes to freedom of speech. But as you know, our rights in Canada, as protected by the Charter, also has limitations. And pwede rin silang isuspend momentarily by the government by using the notwithstanding clause of the Charter, for example. Or, for example, pwede rin siyang ma-judicially override by the Oakes test, essentially, under Section 1, if it's justifiable in a democratic and free society. So in other words, may mga limitations itong freedom of speech. Hindi siya absolute. Hindi ito yung framework natin dito sa Canada. So while we protect free speech, hindi siya absolute. Pero at the same time, the government will, not step in to essentially just like curtail expression and talagang clear talaga na may danger talaga sa public or to an individual. For example, yung sinasabi ng ating mga panyero from the Philippines, yung clear and present danger, which I understand comes from American case law. The principles are not exactly the same in Canada, but they're very similar, right? So the government can impose restrictions. Pero yun nga, makakasiguro ako na kapag ginawa ito na kasuhan sila, alam mo yun, they could invoke like their rights for freedom of expression. Yun nga, within the limits of the situation na pinaliw sila, sinabihan sila ng pulis na, lumayo lang kayo, tuloy nyo lang yan, pero lumayo kayo. Si Ante Claire ngumiti lang. Diba? So parang wala namang victim, kumbaga. And actually, I would say na okay, naharas si Ante Claire that day. Pwede.
Baka naman nag-ano lang siya, Attorney Lou. Siyempre, alam mo namang magpakita siya doon na affected siya. Baka ganun yung nasa isip
Pwede rin
niya.
naman, pero I think she handled the situation. Sorry si Mama dito sa
It's okay. Hi, tita.
Ano yung tawag dito, parang maaring naramdaman niya yun, pero I think she handled herself really well kasi like, as a public official representing the government of the Philippines, I think, and I'm not siding with the government of BBM, by the way, or nor am I going to criticize, the DDS side here. Pero sabi ko, like from a diplomatic standpoint, to naman, wag kang gumawa ng insidente, wag mo nang palalain pa, di ba? So tumahimik ka na lang. Tama yung ginawa ni Ante Claire, I think. So, yun.
Guys, this episode is solely really just to talk about the possibility of deportation, no? For those, may dalawang pinag-iinita na kababayan natin, which again, hindi natin alam kung ano po ang status nila. If you listened intently dito sa pinaliwanag po ni Attorney Lou, kung citizen sila, wala. Okay, kahit pakasuhan sila, hindi po sila ma-deport over this matter. Kahit pa ma-convict sila, they will be punished, but I don't think they will be deported. If they are permanent residents, kailangan pa rin pong kasuhan at kailangan ma-convict. Na ang kailangan, di ba, parusa yata, minimum dapat 6 months imprisonment before it could trigger a deportation.
Correct.
Okay. Same with temporary residence. Pag temporary, kailangan ba minimum din 6 months yung pagkakakulong?
Yes.
Okay,
actually, no, walang minimum. Kapag gano'n nakasuhan lang criminally, kapag foreign national, kapag ordinary criminality lang. Pero, I mean, serious criminality already reaches, criminal harassment already reaches the threshold of serious criminality. So, ano pa mang hahanapin natin dito? Diba? So, pack na siya sa dalawang parte na yan, sa dalawang kinds of situation na yan. Ang question na lang dito, kakasuhan ba sila at mako-convict ba sila? So, mahaba-haba pa yung storya, di ba?
Correct. And speaking of the two protesters na napag-iinitan, I think there are also, mukhang hinaharas din sila ngayon daw. Social media. Ay guys, so we do not know these people.
We don't.
Pero be careful. Ay nako guys ha. Huwag nyo nang dagdagan yung problema.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us, Attorney Lou?
Yes. Thank you for letting me say this kasi yun nga while I don't side with any of these characters, si Ante Claire man or yung dalawang allegedly na nang haras, mag-ingat din po tayo as individuals because yun nga sinasabi natin na potentially for deportation, it's criminal harassment. Sa Philippines, meron din tayong tinatawag na cyberbullying, di ba? While wala tayong specific laws and special laws in Canada that cover cyberbullying, meron tayong criminal harassment na pasok kung hinaharas ninyo itong mga individual na ito, kung sinundan nyo sila, sinok nyo sila, tapos talagang trineten nyo sila, kahit na on social media, kahit na fake account po yung mga ginagawa ninyo, you can get an order from the court to force Facebook or Meta kung sino kayo. Yan yung pinag-usapan ngayon sa ano 'di ba, sa impeachment ngayon, 'di ba, yung ginawa ng NBI with the authentication of the videos, etc., etc. It's the same principle. A court in Canada could order Meta to basically divulge kung sino yung mga individual na ito. So, ingat po tayo sa mga sasabihin natin at mga ipopost natin. Kasi meron din po tayong potential criminal liability if we meet the threshold of criminal harassment. Kung talagang mapikon talaga ng dalawang taong ito, baka kayo ang babalikan at baka kayo ang ma-deport. So, ingat lang po tayo.
Grabe, ganun pa yung nangyari din.
Baka naman napaka-saklap naman na bumalik sa inyo na ganun, di ba? So parang, I know you may not agree with these individuals the way that they, like certainly I don't, and I'm not going to take sides here, pero like the manner in which it was done was, it's, to each person's taste. I don't agree with it, but I will respect their freedom of expression, I will say. Pero at the same time, tandaan natin ang ating freedom of expression na may kasamang mga responsibilidad. Maging sibilisado po tayo. Diba?
Oo, I know. Of course, we are especially addressing this, yung reminder ni Attorney Lou, para sa mga netizens here in Canada.
Correct.
Okay, Canada, the government may take action on you. Sakali nga namang sa sobrang kaka-post yun ng kung ano-ano laban dun sa dalawa, sila din ang umaksyon laban sa inyo. They can track you down, right? Kahit pa mga anonymous yung inyong mga account.
It's possible. Okay. Huwag na natin paabutin doon.
Last na lang, Attorney Lou. Okay. Ano ba may guidelines ba for, I'm just curious, for temporary residents getting involved in such protest actions in Canada? Are they allowed to do that? O outside na dun sa nangyari dun sa state visit. But generally speaking, would that put their status at risk?
Ikaw naman, you're putting me on the spot kasi alam ko yung mga nagko-comment sa mga protests before.
Yung mga nagpo-protesta sa mga bagay na sabi nga ng ilan, wala namang kinalaman sa Canada, magpo-protesta kayo dito tungkol sa mga isyong yan.
How about I do this? How about I say that under Canadian law, we don't discriminate based out of foreign nationality, for example, whether you're a Canadian citizen, you're a permanent resident, or a foreign national, every person has the freedom of thought and freedom of expression. Let's put it that way. So, by extension, they're free to do that. For example, you're protesting against the suppression of freedom of expression ng mga nagpo-protest in Iran. Ano naman ang kinalaman ng mga Canadians dyan, diba? So, bakit sila nagpo-protesta in downtown Toronto and creating a massive traffic jam? So, maybe we may not necessarily agree with it. Sila, may freedom of expression sila. So long as wala naman silang pinipinsalang iba, I mean, they have the ability to, express their thoughts. But again, I'm not a free speech absolutist. But I will defend freedom of expression, and I won't agree in principle with like legislating against free speech, mostly because it creates a chilling effect. And I mean, Ina, you were formerly a journalist. I also was in your shoes in the past. So we need the space as a society.
Ngayon ko lang naalala, speaking of protests. Guys, ganito na lang, ilang beses din ako nagkaroon ng mga episode dito sa channel natin talking about people who are already out of status na nagpo-protesta sila, nananawagan na ibalik yung kanilang status. I say that because, guys, andito pa nga sila nagpo-protesta, hindi sila agad-agad napapaalis.
Yeah.
Ganun po dito, So you get an idea of how... kaya sinasabi ni Attorney Lou rather na mahirap dumating dun sa
Yeah.
punto. Hindi po simple ang deportation process dito sa Canada.
I mean, you may not agree with, yung parang optics na wala ka status magpoprotesta. I kind of can see the comments in the comment section and I understand. Truly, I do. What I will say is, yeah, ito yung batas ng Canada eh. Our freedom of expression is guaranteed by the charter so long as, yun nga, hindi siya limited legally under the law, diba? So, we have to respect the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in Canada as well,
Alright, okay. Pero di bale guys, sakaling magkaroon po ng development, yung storyang yan, I will be sure to give you another episode to talk about it. Pero, attorney, palagay mo, matatapos na lang to. Itong story ang to palagay mo, attorney.
Yeah, I think so. I think mas marami tayong mga importanteng bagay na pinag-uusapan, both in Canada and the Philippines, I will say. Parang, maski si Auntie Claire parang nag-move on na. Nagulat nga ako nasasawsawan pa ng DFA pero sige, go lang.
Okay, on that note, we will end this episode here. Thank you so much, Attorney Lou. Yung email po niya yung gumagapang dyan sa ibaba sakaling you wanna get in touch with him. Okay, we'll end this episode here. Bye, everybody!